In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, it's easy to get lost in the noise, pulled in every direction by the demands of others, overwhelmed by comparison, and constantly distracted by meaningless activity. We're taught to stay busy, to keep chasing, to always be available, yet rarely are we encouraged to slow down and focus on what truly matters, ourselves. The truth is, the most powerful, life-changing decision you can make is to stop giving your time, energy, and attention to things that don't serve your growth. This is not about being selfish, it's about being smart. It's about recognizing that your time is limited, your energy is valuable, and your focus is the gateway to the life you truly want. When you focus on yourself, you start to reclaim your identity. You stop reacting to life and start intentionally creating it. You begin to live from the inside out, anchored by your own values, not driven by the expectations of others. This mindset shift is not just empowering, it's transformational. The distractions, the comparisons, the need for approval, they begin to fade. And what replaces them is something much more powerful: clarity, purpose, and inner peace. This speech is a reminder, a wake-up call, and a challenge to stop wasting your time and start focusing on what really matters: your growth, your vision, your peace, and your purpose. Because the life you're looking for doesn't come from the outside, it starts within. In today's world, attention has become one of the most precious currencies. Unlike money, once attention is spent, it's gone, it cannot be earned back. First key point in understanding why it's essential to focus on yourself and not waste your time lies in grasping the high cost of constant distraction. We often underestimate how much of our energy is drained not by major life events, but by the accumulation of small, seemingly harmless interruptions. A notification here, a quick scroll through social media there, checking a message while working, all of these fragment your ability to concentrate. Over time, these moments begin to chip away at your clarity, and the ability to deeply focus starts to erode. Distraction has become a default state. Our minds, wired for novelty and stimulation, are now trained to seek constant engagement. The irony is that while technology was meant to help us do more, it has conditioned us to think less. Instead of deep thinking and deliberate action, we now live in a world of reaction. We respond to every beep, every buzz, every suggestion, often without conscious thought. The result is mental fatigue. When your brain is constantly shifting gears from one stimulus to another, it burns through its limited daily fuel. You may think you're being productive, but what you're really doing is jumping from surface to surface without ever diving deep. The ability to focus for extended periods, once considered normal, is now rare. It is in focus, however, that all meaningful progress happens. Whether you're trying to build a business, improve your health, learn a skill, or understand yourself better, none of that can occur when your attention is fractured. Deep work, reflection, creativity, these demand uninterrupted time and presence. But in a culture addicted to speed and surface-level engagement, depth has become uncomfortable. We feel restless when there's nothing to stimulate us. We reach for our phones not because we need them, but because silence feels strange. The real cost of this distraction isn't just in lost time, it's in lost identity. When you're constantly reacting to the world around you, you're not living your life, you're living someone else's. You become a mirror reflecting whatever is put in front of you, and slowly, without realizing it, you lose sight of your own voice, your own values, your own direction. You begin to compare yourself to others more frequently. You fall into the trap of measuring your worth by likes, follows, and external validation. This leads to anxiety, dissatisfaction, and a growing sense of emptiness. To reclaim yourself, the first step is to reclaim your attention. That means becoming brutally honest about where your time is going. It means asking hard questions. Who am I giving my energy to? What habits are stealing my focus? Which activities leave me drained? And which make me feel alive? It's not about perfection, it's about awareness, because once you're aware of what's pulling you away from yourself, you can begin the process of cutting those things out. Reclaiming focus also involves retraining the brain. Just like a muscle, your ability to concentrate strengthens with use. You can start small, perhaps with 10 minutes of intentional focus, uninterrupted by any screen or outside stimulus. Over time, this practice builds. Your mind becomes more disciplined, you become more present, and presence is powerful. When you're fully engaged in what you're doing, not only do you perform better, but you also feel more connected to your experience. Life feels fuller, you begin to notice more about yourself, about others, about your environment. This shift from distraction to focus doesn't happen overnight, but the rewards are profound. You begin to feel more in control of your life. You make decisions more clearly, you stop drifting and start directing, you stop consuming and start creating, and perhaps most importantly, you start to hear your own inner voice again. That quiet knowing that's been buried under noise finally has space to emerge. That voice is the compass for your life. It guides you toward what matters. It helps you see through the fog of opinions, trends, and expectations. But it can only be heard in silence. It can only be heard when the mind is still. Focusing on yourself isn't about shutting out the world completely. It's about making your internal world strong enough that you don't get lost in the chaos of the external. You must protect your attention like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your growth, your goals, your peace of mind, all of them hinge on where your focus goes. And when you allow distractions to rule your life, you're not just losing time, you're losing the opportunity to become the person you were meant to be. You're trading your potential for momentary pleasure. You're giving away your future for a few seconds of stimulation. So the next time you feel the urge to scroll, to check, to distract yourself, pause. Ask, is this helping me? Is this feeding me or draining me? Choose wisely. Your life is built on your choices. Every time you choose to focus, you reclaim a part of yourself that was slipping away. You bring your mind back home. And over time, this practice becomes your strength, a quiet, steady power that nothing can shake. The cost of distraction is your life, but the reward of focus, that's everything. That's where transformation begins. That's where you rediscover who you are. Focusing on yourself is not a passive or selfish act. It's a deeply intentional commitment to reclaim your time, energy, and attention from the noise of the world and reinvest it into your own evolution. The power of deliberate focus lies in its ability to change the trajectory of your life in profound ways. When you stop giving your energy to things that dilute your clarity and start channeling it into purposeful action, everything begins to align. You start moving with direction instead of drifting through your days, and that single shift can transform your mental, emotional, and even physical health. Deliberate focus begins with understanding what truly matters to you. Not what society tells you to value, not what your peers are chasing, and not what your past self used to want, but what your current self, at this stage in your life, deeply cares about. That clarity does not come by chance. It's cultivated through time spent with yourself in honest reflection and by taking a hard look at what you're doing each day. If your daily habits don't align with your values and goals, then it's not a matter of motivation, it's a matter of misalignment. When you focus deliberately, you begin to prioritize actions that bring long-term fulfillment instead of short-term comfort. You say no to distractions even if they're tempting. You walk away from conversations that offer no growth. You set boundaries not to shut others out, but to protect the sacred space you need to build the life you envision. You begin to notice where your energy flows most easily, where you feel alive, present, and connected. These are signs that you're on the right path. Focus allows you to refine that path, to cut out the unnecessary, and to pour your efforts into what makes you stronger. One of the most underrated benefits of deliberate focus is the inner peace it brings. When you're constantly multitasking or living in reaction mode, you're never fully grounded. You're either ruminating about the past or anxious about the future. Focus brings you into the now. It brings you into a state where your thoughts, actions, and attention are all aligned. This alignment creates momentum. You begin to trust yourself more because you're doing what you said you'd do. Confidence grows, not from hype or external praise, but from witnessing your own consistency. Most people are not lacking in talent or intelligence. What they lack is the ability to stay focused long enough to see the results of their effort. They start and stop, begin and quit, constantly distracted by the next idea, the next shortcut, the next dopamine hit. But real growth takes time. It requires you to stay in one place long enough to build roots, to go deep, and to develop mastery. Deliberate focus forces you to slow down in a world that's always rushing. And in that stillness, you gain clarity that speed could never give you. This doesn't mean focus has to be rigid. It doesn't mean you never rest, never explore, never shift. It simply means that you become more intentional with your time. You're not just busy, you're effective. You don't just consume, you create. You stop living by default and start living by design. Whether it's your health, your career, your mindset, or your relationships, everything improves when you become more focused. That's because energy flows where attention goes, and when your attention is scattered, so is your power. The mind, when trained to focus, becomes a powerful ally. You begin to notice patterns in your thoughts. You gain the ability to pause before reacting. You understand your triggers and begin to dismantle them. You don't allow every thought to become a belief or every emotion to become a decision. You gain perspective, a mental distance that lets you evaluate instead of just experience. This kind of self-awareness is only possible when you're focused on yourself in a meaningful, conscious way. Another key element of deliberate focus is protecting your environment. You can't expect to grow in spaces that constantly distract or deplete you. Whether it's your physical surroundings or your digital habits, your environment must support your focus, not sabotage it. This may mean changing your routine, limiting screen time, clearing clutter, or creating a space that invites clarity. It may also mean evaluating the people you surround yourself with. Are they helping you stay focused on your goals, or are they pulling you back into old habits and limiting beliefs? People who live with focus often appear different. They're not easily swayed by trends or opinions. They're not constantly explaining themselves. They don't chase, they attract. That's because focus gives them a grounded presence, an inner confidence that radiates. When you know what you're about, you don't need validation from the outside. You live in alignment with your values, and that alignment is magnetic. The truth is, life will always try to pull you in different directions. There will always be something vying for your attention, a new distraction, a new demand, a new drama. But you get to choose what you give your energy to. You get to choose what's worth your time, and that choice, repeated daily, becomes your destiny. You either live on purpose or live in reaction. Deliberate focus is the path to the former. So focus on yourself not just as a motivational slogan, but as a daily practice. Wake up each morning and ask yourself, what matters today? What can I do that brings me closer to my vision? Where do I need to protect my time and energy more fiercely? And then act accordingly, not perfectly, not obsessively, but intentionally. Because when you live with focus, you don't just achieve more, you become more. You become someone who lives from within, not from reaction, someone who leads their own life rather than following the noise, and that, in the end, is the most powerful transformation of all. Time is the most valuable resource you have. Once spent, it can never be reclaimed, replaced, or refunded, and yet, so many people give it away freely, often to people, habits, and situations that offer nothing in return. Reclaiming your time from energy vampires is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. These energy drainers come in many forms: negative relationships, constant complainers, manipulative acquaintances, drama-filled environments, and even internal patterns like self-doubt or procrastination. The problem isn't just that they waste your time, it's that they rob you of your focus, your clarity, your creativity, and ultimately, your potential. Many people stay stuck in cycles of frustration and fatigue because they continue to give time and energy to those who drain them instead of uplift them. They say yes when they want to say no. They engage in conversations that go nowhere. They tolerate disrespect under the guise of being nice or polite. The result is exhaustion, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. You feel like you're constantly running, yet getting nowhere. That feeling is a signal. It's your inner intelligence telling you that something, or someone, is stealing your energy. It's not selfish to set boundaries. It's not cold or cruel to walk away from people who consistently bring chaos or confusion into your life. In fact, it's necessary if you want to grow. You cannot build a strong, grounded life while being surrounded by instability and toxicity. When you protect your time, you protect your mind. And when your mind is protected, it can focus, it can create, it can grow. It starts by becoming aware of who and what drains you. Begin to observe how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you feel inspired, energized, challenged in a good way? Or do you feel tired, irritated, and mentally foggy? Start doing this with situations and habits too. Ask yourself whether your time on social media, your evening routine, your conversations, and even your entertainment choices are enriching your life or quietly draining it. Energy vampires don't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes they're disguised as friends, colleagues, or even family members who claim to care about you, but only ever take from you. They dominate conversations, constantly vent without seeking solutions, or subtly discourage your goals. Over time, these interactions erode your confidence and distract you from your purpose. The key is to recognize the patterns and take back control, not out of anger, but out of respect for yourself. Protecting your energy also means taking responsibility for your part. Are you setting clear boundaries? Are you communicating your needs? Or are you hoping others will just understand them? Are you allowing guilt to control your decisions? These are important questions. Because sometimes it's not the energy vampire's fault, they're simply doing what you allow. Reclaiming your time means acknowledging where you've allowed your focus to be hijacked and making a new decision. Learning to say no is a powerful skill. Not every invitation deserves your time. Not every message needs a reply. Not every conflict is worth engaging in. You don't owe anyone your energy if it comes at the expense of your peace. Your attention should be earned, not taken for granted. The more you honor your time, the more others will learn to do the same. Taking your time back also means simplifying your life. Many people confuse being busy with being productive, but they're not the same. Busyness can often be a form of avoidance, running from silence, from clarity, from facing what really needs your attention. When you strip away the unnecessary, what remains is your truth, and living in truth is always more powerful than living in reaction. There's a difference between being available and being accessible. You can be kind without being constantly reachable. You can be supportive without carrying the emotional weight of others. You can love people from a distance if closeness means losing yourself. Your energy is sacred. It fuels everything. Your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your dreams. When it's scattered, you become reactive and overwhelmed. But when it's protected and directed, you become intentional and grounded. Over time, as you reclaim more of your time and protect your energy more fiercely, you begin to attract different situations and people. The more you respect yourself, the more you align with those who do the same. Your circle gets smaller but stronger. Your mind gets quieter but sharper. You begin to value peace over drama, clarity over chaos, and growth over validation. That's when true transformation begins. Don't be afraid to let go. Not everyone is meant to walk your full journey. Some people are only chapters, not the whole book, and that's okay. You're not abandoning them. You're choosing yourself, and choosing yourself is the foundation for every meaningful change in life. When you clear out the noise, what remains is focus, and with focus, anything is possible. In the end, your time is your life. Guard it wisely. Treat it like the rare currency it is. Spend it only on people and pursuits that make you better, stronger, more aligned with your purpose. And remember, every moment spent with the wrong people is a moment stolen from the right ones. Every hour wasted on negativity is an hour you could have used to build your vision. Reclaim your time. Protect your energy. Focus on what matters. Because the life you want isn't out there somewhere, it's waiting behind everything you've been giving your time to instead. At the core of personal peace and long-term fulfillment lies a powerful truth. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Yet so many people live their entire lives chasing the approval of others, seeking applause, validation, or acknowledgement, believing that external acceptance will fill an internal void. But the moment you start building your life around meaning instead of approval is the moment everything changes. That shift allows you to stop performing and start living. It's a change that brings a deep sense of freedom, clarity, and direction that no amount of outside praise can ever provide. Living for approval is a trap that often begins in childhood. We learn early on that praise brings love, that success brings attention, and that fitting in feels safer than standing out. But as we grow older, those same patterns continue to shape our behavior, often without us even realizing it. We make decisions based on what will make others happy. We hide parts of ourselves that we fear others might judge. We pursue careers, relationships, and lifestyles that look impressive on the outside, even if they feel hollow on the inside. The danger with living this way is that you begin to forget what truly matters to you. Your inner voice gets quieter with each compromise. You start measuring success by external standards, likes, followers, titles, compliments. But none of those things can bring lasting fulfillment. Why? Because they're never stable. Approval from others can be taken away in a moment. Trends change. People's opinions shift. No matter how much you do, someone will always criticize you, misunderstand you, or expect more. Trying to please everyone guarantees that you will end up pleasing no one, least of all yourself. Meaning, on the other hand, is something you define for yourself. It's rooted in your values, your passions, your purpose. It doesn't require an audience. It doesn't need applause. It grows in silence and solitude, in the decisions you make when no one is watching. Building a life around meaning means that your actions come from within, not from a desire to impress. You wake up each day knowing what matters to you, and that clarity becomes your compass. It helps you stay grounded when the world is chaotic. It helps you stay confident when others doubt you. It helps you stay consistent even when results are slow to come. When you stop seeking approval, you gain authenticity. You no longer have to wear masks or live behind filters. You no longer have to explain yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. Instead, you begin to trust your own journey. You begin to make choices that align with your deepest truth, even if others don't understand them. That authenticity brings a peace that can't be shaken, because it's not based on what you have or how others see you. It's based on who you are. Of course, this shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes courage to disappoint others in order to stay true to yourself. It takes strength to walk a different path, especially when that path is quiet, slow, or uncertain. But every time you choose meaning over approval, you become stronger. You prove to yourself that your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. You stop needing people to agree with you in order to feel confident. You realize that your life is your message, and you get to decide what that message will be. Living for meaning also transforms the way you experience success. Instead of chasing status or recognition, you begin to pursue fulfillment. You ask deeper questions. Am I growing? Am I learning? Am I serving something larger than myself? You start to measure progress not just by what you achieve, but by who you become. That shift creates a more sustainable form of motivation, one that doesn't burn out as quickly because it's fueled by purpose, not pressure. You also become more resilient. When your identity is tied to approval, criticism feels like a personal attack. But when your identity is rooted in meaning, feedback becomes a tool, not a threat. You stop crumbling under judgment. You stop obsessing over whether others like you. You realize that their opinions say more about them than they do about you. And with that realization, you begin to take your power back. One of the greatest signs that you've built your life around meaning is the way you handle solitude. You no longer fear being alone because you've made peace with yourself. In solitude, you reflect, recharge, and reconnect. You don't need constant noise to distract you. You find comfort in your own presence. That kind of peace is rare in a world that constantly tells you to do more, be more, show more. But it's the kind of peace that brings clarity, confidence, and consistency, qualities that approval can never give you. Building a life around meaning also changes your relationships. You no longer tolerate connections that are based on pretense, performance, or power games. You seek depth, not just convenience. You surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries, encourage your growth, and value your authenticity. And because you're no longer trying to please everyone, you have more to give to the right ones. You become a better friend, partner, and leader, because you're leading from wholeness, not neediness. At the end of the day, approval fades, applause stops, trends die, but a meaningful life leaves a legacy. It's not built in the spotlight. It's built in the quiet, consistent choices you make every single day. It's built by being honest, staying committed, and showing up fully, even when no one is watching. That kind of life is not only more fulfilling, it's also more powerful, because it can't be shaken, faked, or stolen. So let go of the need to impress, let go of the fear of being misunderstood, let go of the pressure to live someone else's version of success. Focus instead on building a life that feels right to you, even if it looks different to others. Choose meaning, choose alignment, choose yourself, because that's where real power lies, not in applause, but in authenticity. Not in being liked, but in being *real*, not in chasing approval, but in walking with purpose.